I think we're in the middle of a war right now, and I think people don't realize it.
This is Russian Troll Farm 1. Oh my gosh, we have a new Russian troll farm. How good is a M1 main battle tank or an F-35 or a Ford-class aircraft carrier to deterring any of those activities that you just said?
It's completely worthless.
Completely worthless.
I believe we're seeing warfare right now. I believe we're seeing a huge propaganda war. We had spoken. Well, let's hear what you have to say.
No, I want to hear what you guys.
As far as warfare is concerned, I think we're in the middle of a war right now, and I think people don't realize it. I think the fentanyl thing is part of the war. I think the buying our politicians out is part of the war. I think the TikTok and propaganda thing that's going on is part of the war. I think the disinformation thing is part of the war. I think all the bots that are interacting with social media outlets is part of the war. All the you know what I'm talking about, right? All the Twitter bots, the Instagram bots, because it fires the population up. It divides us. I think that the big push on the racism, the trans, I think all of that is part of the propaganda that's part of the war. And I think we've spoken about this earlier, and we'll get into it again. I think that there's a possibility that all of these chemical spills and contaminated water and food processing plants that are catching fire and blowing up, and the 18,000 heads of cattle that just blew up, I think that's all part of the war. I think they're hitting us from every angle possible, except an actual force-on-force confrontation.
You know, my smart-ass remark was going to be, and how good is a M1 main battle tank or an F-35 or a Ford-class aircraft carrier to deterring any of those activities that you just said?
It's completely worthless.
Completely worthless. So we continue to invest in these miraculous weapon systems that won the Cold War, won World War II. Well, they're new ones now, obviously, but that kind of mentality, right? And success is going to come off of silicon. It's going to come across from what's between our ears, and that's my whole irregular warfare thing, is why are we fighting them the way they want us to fight them? Why don't we fight the way we fight, which is use their tools back against them, which we can do. Information operations, come on, man. We can sell, we can sell soap to people that don't need soap, or that's a bad example. I wasn't going to, I'm trying to be careful what I say because you don't want to say something crazy, but we can advertise, we can sell you whatever, right? Sounds cliche. We can sell, whatever. So we know how to do that, right? We also, so all the tools they're using against us, we can actually do as well, right? So why fight? The way the Chinese want us to fight is, they want us to prepare for this huge force-on-force confrontation. I don't think they ever plan to do that.
I don't either.
I think they're like just laughing all the way to the bank. Americans, they're like, we have hypersonic missiles. Now, I think going to Taiwan, they're going to have a conventional thing get there, right? I mean, that's going to be old kind of D-Day thing, whatever. Let's take that one. But when we get to competition worldwide, it's like they're using money. They're using all these tools, disinformation, misinformation, the things that you said. So here's what, I'm rambling, but it's like, we're doing exactly what they want us to do, which is invest in these huge weapon systems, $14 billion for an aircraft carrier. It can be defeated by a missile, a hypersonic missile. I don't even know what that costs, like $1 million? It's still a little steep. But you asked about the future warfare. So I'm with you. Like we have to we have to use their tools back against them. Let's just use a quick example. If you're a totalitarian, authoritarian regime, what's your biggest fear? It's popular unrest, right? So you need to have the population, because you're tyrants at the end of the day, right? I mean, you're a totalitarian regime. You need to keep your population complacent. You can't have them rising up. That's bad for your governing longevity, right? So they need to have an enemy, right? Every totalitarian regime has to have an enemy that they can point to their people and say, the reason that we're acting the way we are is because those people mean to destroy us. So you need to support us. So every time we go with this big conventional, we need to put more tanks here, we need to put more aircraft carriers here, plays exactly into their narrative that they're using with their population to show us as the aggressor. So why do we do that? Why do we feed their mechanism for maintaining control? Let's do something else differently. Let's not use that. Let's use, there's a huge population in China that wants to break away. Why don't we support them? Why don't we use can I give you a quick one? Here's one for you. The COVID thing, when that broke, I was at the Pentagon and I was in charge of information operations as a civilian. And the Chinese right away just started hammering us. There was this one thing where they accused an Olympic athlete that was an American soldier. I can't remember how they did it, but somehow she'd traveled and they blamed it all on her or some crap. And you could see the disinformation coming out, you could just see it real time. And they were using the bots. I mean, they were just flooding the zone with incorrect information. You want to know how long it took for us to respond? I went to the first meeting. 30 days after. What really triggered it, I forgot the details, but it was when they accused this woman soldier that was in the Olympic training program, a bike rider, I want to say. As soon as they blamed her, it became my problem because now it was a military person. Before it had just focused on other stuff. So now we, the Pentagon, have skin in the game. So we got involved. I went to the first interagency messaging meeting, and it's all online, of course, because we can't get together, Zoom call or whatever. And I didn't know what was going on. So you had the State Department nitpicking about this, that, and the other thing. And I got on and I said, I figured we had been doing this for months. I said, what else have you guys been doing? And they said, this is our first meeting. I said, so we're 30 days after the initial onslaught of their information operation against us, and we're having our first U.S. government interagency coordination meeting to how to respond to COVID. I knew we were done at that point. I was but your point is we can do better, but we've decided not to. So I could go on all day, man. It's just we are looking at this. We have to retool for a different type of war that they are fighting, that we are refusing to accept, and we just want to go back to World War II. It's all we want. Just keep it clean. No, it's not clean anymore. It's everywhere. You brought up Office of Strategic Services. It's in my book. It's we need to have a new Office of Strategic Service. Young people that maybe don't want to serve in the military or they don't want to go through all that, but they're geniuses at whatever, cyber, marketing. Maybe they just want to serve and they have these really crazy, cool skills. Shake and bake them. Learning how to march and salute and put on your uniform really takes, about 45 minutes?
Yeah.
Doesn't take 8 weeks. Bring them in temporarily and then have an organization of special operations, have all elements of the United States power in that one organization. So, and that's one of my things. We got to really think about that because we are not they're taking advantage of us just because they know how we do things. Easy. Read our books, right?
I mean, do we know? Do we have them pegged? I mean, can we? Is the NSA involved? I mean, are we doing anything about any of this stuff?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know now. Your question, like, can we look at their communication pathways and how they're doing things? I went to a civil. I'll just tell you straight up. This way, I don't have to like get rolled up by the FBI for violating some security oath or something that I signed and didn't realize I was talking about secret information, which this isn't. I went to a commercial entity that does the scrapes the internet and then can do these link diagrams, and they can see usage. They just look at the internet and where everything's coming from, and they totally, it's not just one. I've seen several. Apparently it's not that hard. And it was like, okay, this is where this is Russian troll farm 1. Oh my gosh, we have a new Russian troll farm. While I was there that day, because it just pops off the screen at you. And then you can scrape out from that, you can see what messages and what mechanisms they're using. Okay, 64% Twitter, Instagram, blah, 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 blah. And then you can go in now with real, with machine learning, get that crap translated. You can kind of get the sentiment analysis and all that. You can see what they're trying to do. We can do that. Your question is, are we doing anything back to them?
Hey everybody, I'm Shawn Ryan. Click here to subscribe to the Shawn Ryan Show YouTube channel for the hottest and most compelling interviews that you will not see anywhere else. I've also made a playlist of all the previous SRS episodes so they're easy to find. You can find that right here.